Over my fall break, I started working on a new card game. I wanted to work on a game, but the card game I had been working on was no longer worth working on for a handful of reasons, so I wanted to start again. So between that and wanting to make a new YouTube video, I sat down and started recording. I ended up recording 30 minutes of me brainstorming top-down themes for a game, and then I sat on the footage for so long that none of it is worth using in this video. It's for like a completely different style video, and I don't want to use it, except the last little bit, which is me explaining the game concept I ended up making by the end of it.
Then the Gothic Sword and Sorcery Western is magical gunslingers duel to the death. Craft the perfect six, have a deck, and out of it craft the perfect 6 bullets into one last cylinder. The Gothic bit, I think it feels a bit like a stretch and just like a over-the-top flavor thing that I would want to replace with something else, but it was like your cylinders stained glass, like your different bullets are different types of stained glass. But I do really like the magical gunslinger duel to the death, where you have like this whole deck and then you pull certain cards out of it and then you craft a 6 bullet cylinder. And then like whichever cylinder scores more or whatever, does more damage or something, wins. So I think I'm gonna build on the like magical gunslinger idea.
As past me had predicted, I dropped the stained glass theming basically as soon as I started writing playtest cards. The idea of building out your cylinder being the main mechanic, however, did stay. To win a game of Sorcery Gunslingers, you want to be the last player left standing. Each player starts with 24 health, so you'll be aiming to set up your cards in a way that'll deal 24 damage to your opponent before they can do 24 damage to you. When a game starts, both players start by loading the chambers of their revolvers. They both choose and then simultaneously reveal a card to put into each spot of their 6-round chamber. The card can be chosen from one of the cards in their 3-card hand, or they can choose to play the top card of their deck without looking at it. Once each player has revealed their chosen card, they can draw back up to 3 cards in hand before choosing their card for the next round. After both players have revealed the 6th card in their chamber, they start shooting their guns. Starting with the first card chosen by each player, all of the first rounds are fired simultaneously. This means that each of the cards in the first spot of a player's board do their effects at the same time, then deal damage at the same time. Then turn these cards sideways to indicate that they've been fired, and if there's still more than one player standing, move on to the next round in each remaining player's chamber. Because damage is always done at the same time, you can end up with all remaining players getting killed and removed from the game on the same round. If this happens, everybody loses. I mean, you all died, so nobody really wins there. Conversely, if all 6 rounds in each remaining player's chamber have been fired, and more than one player is still standing, remove all cards from both players' chambers and load up 6 new bullets just like you did at the start. If more than one player survives 3 chambers, the game ends in a tie. Now, this isn't a complete overview of the rules. You can easily make the game work in multiplayer as a 3 or 4 player free-for-all, for example. There will be a rules PDF with a print-and-play cards that will have a more complete set of the rules. The game can be a little bit difficult to get your head around without just seeing it played, so I'll be making a walkthrough/gameplay video that will be linked in the description as soon as I have it finished. You should also just be able to find it on my channel once it's there. I've created a Google Drive that has both the rules and a PDF with all 96 cards I've made so far. There will be a link to that Google Drive so you can download and print the cards, as well as download the rules. If you want to play yourself, you can cut the cards out with just scissors if that's all you had, but I also made it so that you can cut it out with an X-Acto knife and a ruler. Each page has a number of registration marks on the side to line up a ruler against, and then you cut down against the ruler. An important thing to remember when doing this is to cut from inside the page so you don't cut off the registration marks you'll need for future cuts. At the time of writing, the drive only has the rules and cards, but I will be looking to add a page of tokens and an FAQ, as well as anything else I have time to make. Well, you could just make constructed style decks with the cards. It's not the main way that I have been playtesting everything. I have been designing and building decks primarily through drafting. I've been running drafts similar to how you would run a booster draft by shuffling the collection of cards instead of giving sealed packs to each player. To do this, I shuffle all of the cards and then I sort them out into piles of 8. Then each player gets 3 of those piles. They choose one, look through it, pick a card from that pile, and then pass the remaining cards in that pile to the player on their left. Players continue picking and passing cards like that until all 8 cards have been taken from that pile. And then each player picks up the next pile, and they repeat the process of picking and passing, except on the second pile, they pass to the right, and on the third pile, they pass back to the left again. Once everybody has picked cards from each of their piles, they should end up with 24 cards to build an 18-card deck out of. With the decks built, you can then play whatever round robin, bracket, 1v1s that you'd like. I decided that elemental archetypes would be the most interesting way to balance use of different decks, especially when there's no real resource cost to any individual card, with the main limiter just being the low number of cards that you can choose for any given round. There are a few archetypes that will be coming in later versions of the game, and a few that will be removed. Don't worry though, the cards in those archetypes will likely just be moved to new ones. I will also be adding characters and gear in some capacity, but I need to finish up fiddling with some rules and ideas before I publish any. I will probably also be making some pre-built decks to go with the draft environment, and it's most likely that there will be info about those whenever I make the video about whatever I end up doing with characters and gear. That's about it for now. If you have any rules questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. And of course, have fun playing. I'll see y'all in the next one.